So today's conversation, when it comes to AI, is often dominated by headlines emanating out of US or China. But we cannot adopt AI which was built elsewhere. Our realities are very different. Most of Indians are using a phone which is priced at 6,000 rupees. We are multilingual, different accents, and most of Indians are first-time digital users, not digital natives. Our realities are different, and AI for India needs to be inclusive rather than exclusive. So which is why this conversation with Preeti I'm very excited about. And at the heart of tech transformation, AI, that's taking place in India, we have Google. And Preeti, this is a topic which is very close to your heart, inclusive growth and how we can use AI as a blueprint for inclusive growth. So sitting where you are, take us through the opportunity.
I think the real opportunity for India and Global South is really to use AI not just to catch up, but to leapfrog ahead. Because we've been given this unique technology to be able to solve some of our biggest systemic issues at scale. But for that, we need to build new models of development that reflect our languages, our culture, our people, indeed our constraints and our priorities. Now, AI can, should, and will be the foundation of inclusive growth. It can accelerate productivity, and it can close access gaps when we talk about healthcare, agriculture, and education, and help us solve problems at population scale. So the way we think about it is, there's a lot of hype, right? People say, is it gonna be real? And we talk about adding, say, 400 billion, through AI to our economy by 2030. But we deeply believe this in Google. Think about AI and measuring AI in how it will transform lives and not just balance sheets and P&Ls. And the way we need AI to be inclusive is based on three things. One, understanding our language and cultural context. We need to make sure that AI that is deployed understands the key languages in India or other countries in Global South. And for that, making sure that we are training AI through local data sets is absolutely key. And that is what we have been doing with our open source models like Gemma or project called Vani, where we provided data sets of local dialects in India to be made available to train models, because only then can it be deployed to be of value to every Indian. And then we are talking about building local capability. So it's about building compute and infrastructure locally, developing that pipeline of talent, because it's very important that we are not just implementing something that is developed elsewhere, we are also innovating. And last but not the least, it is if we innovate in a responsible manner and deploy it in the right manner, we can absolutely scale it, like I said, to close access gaps and leapfrog ahead.
So AI not just for economic value, but for real impact at scale.
Transforming the lives of every single citizen.
So AI has a lot of promise. But what about real progress? As you said that, at Google, you're solving for the constraints. You are training your data sets on different languages, understanding the culture. But there are constraints like there is no internet. Many families have one phone between them. Even then, there is intermittent connectivity. I mean, there are so many challenges to achieve this inclusive growth and have that impact, the desired impact.
So think about this. We've been India in deep partnership with India over 2 decades, right? And some of these constraints that you talk about, it's not just about a low-end smartphone or internet connectivity issues. It is about, just people having different cultural context or different levels of digital literacy. So I would like to say that we've been working on this. And by the way, we have been an AI company for several years, building AI into our search, maps, and all other products for years. So when we think about, how our products, so think about search or maps or even YouTube, we have carefully built our products. And if I may use that term, we make sure that if you're in a zone with low connectivity, the performance will degrade a little bit. The video quality or the audio quality may go down, but it'll come back up to that great quality once your network improves. So we've learned over the years as Google in India on how to make our products work for some of these constraints, how to have the lighter versions of our products on lower-end phones also. The second thing when you talk about these constraints is building in inclusive accessibility for all our products. We have invested hugely in smoothing out the UX interface, right? So think about Google Pay. From a street vendor who's not very digitally literate, they can use Google Pay to make payments and make a living, and to the most sophisticated users. So we have learned over time to make sure we have built that UX which makes our products inclusive, regardless of the quality of phone that you have and the internet accessibility that you have. And that thinking and that experience is what is continuing in how we are developing and deploying AI into specific apps and use cases. And we're also working with local partners, Reema, by the way. A very important part of our Google work here is to bring the best of our full stack approach. We have the infrastructure and compute, we have the cutting edge frontier models, and we are building apps. But we do it in partnership with local, ecosystem developers, academia, research teams, so that everyone is thinking local and India first.
Preeti, you just heard the discussion that we were having on cybersecurity and what it means in an AI-enabled world. There are deep fakes, there's misinformation. What does security mean to you? Wanted you to get your views in. And how does Google work with the entire ecosystem to bring in that alignment?
So I want to say it is a very important and critical priority for us, but it's very important equally to understand it's a shared collective responsibility of the ecosystem between the regulators, players, the tech companies, and telecom providers, what you call the safety experts. So I always like to think of this as safety is infrastructure. It is foundational. It's a horizontal. Before we think of anything else, you got to build it in. So 4 or 5 principles. Security by design. It's not an afterthought. Build it as you think about designing your product or your infrastructure. So it's not an afterthought. Then you think about governance. It's very important to bring the strongest sort of safeguards in the highest risk areas, but being smart about where we leave room for innovation. So when to go hard, when to pull back. Then, in this age of synthetic content and deep fakes, having tools in place which can, we talk about watermarking all synthetic content in a visible or a non-transparent way, and then ways of detecting that so that people know that this is fake content. And then we're talking about real-time threat intelligence, which the previous panel was also talking about. We can only stay ahead in the game at a country level, at a global level, if there is a very good and fast way of sharing, how scammers are getting ahead, what's the latest game in town. But as Sachin was also saying in the previous panel, AI is actually enabling us as defenders to be just catching up with the perpetrators. And last but not the least, we believe in user resilience. So making sure we are investing in educating users in a very simple manner so they know I'm getting phished or I'm getting scammed or So it's a multi-360-degree layer approach, but working with the ecosystem.
A lot of businesses, companies, founders must come to you asking you, how should I use AI? Everyone believes that AI can transform their business. How much of that is hype? How much of that is reality? What is the advice that you would give founders who can use AI to make a real impact?
So 2, 3 things. We will say to founders, values over vibes or feelings. Make sure you're developing something that you can measure, whether it's revenue, cost saving, some measurable impact, better returns. 2 is think about things in a very systemic way. Think about transforming process, not just a bolt-on or an add-on cool feature. And then, like I said earlier, just build trust in as a product. So you're always thinking of that and not that as a cool thing. I think we work a lot with the founders and that ecosystem. We have a startup accelerator, and we are working with a lot of AI startups to share, our expertise. We share cloud credits and all of that. And we look at them and we say, are you solving the hard problems of India? When you talk about preventive healthcare, when you talk about diagnostics for tier 2, tier 3 rural Indians, who don't have that access, when you're talking about personalized learning or an AI tutor for anyone, whether it's an affluent kid or a kid, who does not have access to the best that we have access to. Efficient logistics. So think of the use case and hard problems, not the cool thing. And then look at India's unique strengths. Look at DPI. So build on those guardrails. Make sure it's localized. And if you asked yourself, are you solving the hard problems of India? If it works on a low-cost device with poor connectivity and in local languages, we tell the founders it will scale not just in India, but anywhere in the world.
How wonderful. Preeti, thank you very, very much for sharing your insights. Thank you.